Hi, welcome. This is Rick from Dynamic Sketching again. Very happy to have you with me. As talked about in our last video on the skeleton, I thought it'd be good to look at the male torso from the front and take what we've been working on in the skeleton and see the outside form here. So what I've done is, as always, I've just done a very light roughed out drawing of the male form. This is the one we're going to be working on. Maybe put a little bit of shadow in. This one here is going to be the graphic structure of the muscles, and we can refer to it either or. So getting started on it, I'm using the idealized form of the male figure here. You know, we're looking at a high level athlete, boxer, runner, 100 meters runner, just somebody with where you're seeing the structure of the muscles, quite defined, so not like most people. It's idealized form, but it's the best way to show the muscles. So getting started, we could take the lessons that we've done before, doing the block if we wish to, and that flattened triangle. I'll talk about that more later. It'll sort of shape for the neck there, and as we've done with the pelvis, we're not going to be drawing much further down than the belt line here for obvious reasons. But the structure of what we were doing before, the mapping points, you can see the mapping points there. We could, if we wanted to, draw the block here, the rib shape. The rib shape is here, but it's almost going to be like an invisible drawing here because we're working over the anatomical shapes. So getting started, let's start with the neck here. Again, it can be drawn like a cylinder. This very flat triangle shape I've been talking about here is caused by a muscle called the trapezius in the back. Now we can see it protruding here from the front, and depending on how developed somebody is, that could be very muscular, so you're seeing it quite defined there, or it could be quite flat in just an ordinary person. Just drawing the shoulder shapes here. Here is the clavicle, the collarbone, which is attached, as we know with our skeleton shape, attaches to the shoulders there. Now the first muscles we're looking at here are what's called the, let me remind myself here, the sternomastoid or the sternocleidomastoid, if I've said that correctly. My old lecturer, my life drawing lecturer, used to refer to them as the bowstrings. So basically, these are the two muscles here on the neck, support the neck and help to turn it, twist it. So these bowstrings. So in our anatomical drawing, if we define them very graphically, here they are here, they attach to the pit of the neck like this, yeah? And you've got your Adam's apple there, side of the neck there. And then these muscles here, like I said, this is indicating the trapezius at the back. Now the trapezius, just to almost do like a 3D drawing here, if we look at the back of the figure, I'll just do this very quickly. So here's the back here, dotted line just for the spine there. This trapezius, if we put all the mapping points there, attaches to the shoulder, and it creates almost like a diamond shape in the back of the body. It's a very big, powerful muscle, and then the top of it's almost like two pieces of rope that attach to the neck and go to the base of the head. So they control a lot of the movement of the back, the neck, the shoulders. So we're seeing, when we're seeing this part of this muscle flip round, we're seeing it here. You see? Very powerful muscle. Depending on how much working out somebody does. It can be very defined in the back. Deltoid, but that's indicating the basic shape of the trapezius, which does affect the front. So getting on to, so as I said, we've got our sternomastoid muscles here. We're going to imagine that the light source is coming from here. So we might do a little bit of shading as we go on. And the ball and socket joint here kind of protrudes and causes a little shape. Again, depending on if somebody's fairly skinny, you'll see this protruding a lot more. The ball and socket joint. If you're very muscular, like our man is going to be here, it's covered by the deltoid muscle. So the deltoid muscle here, we see the collarbone fits into it, the clavicle fits into the deltoid and the shoulders. We work on our graphic anatomical sketch. We can see how it fits, inserts there. Into the arm. So it's like that. And the pectorals, the chest muscle, also attaches to it. So it's all a big system that moves. Collarbone. I'm just doing again like what we did with the skeleton, very simple structural. I'm not looking at underlying muscles. I'm just basically looking at very simple superficial muscles. Okay, so there's the deltoid, shoulder muscle, and this man that we're drawing here is obviously well defined. These are the muscle fibers in the deltoid. If you raise your deltoid up, you raise your shoulder up, I should say, you can feel the deltoid, how it splits with the collarbone and the clavicle. It's always really good to look at yourself. You know, this is a good thing that artists can do. They can look at themselves in the mirror, they can raise their arm, move their arm around. You can see how that's affected by that. Okay. The bicep, we're not really going to go into the arm as much here, but we'll just indicate a bit of the bicep here. So yeah, so they're the muscles that we're working on there. Maybe just use a little bit of tone here to indicate this. See where the colour, sorry, where the bone socket joint of the shoulder is indicated there. So a light's coming from there. The structure of the deltoid here. Maybe put a little bit of tone on is really good as well, because it helps to define these shapes and how light sort of rolls over them and causes definition in these shapes. Okay, a little indication of the clavicle there. Clavicle, shoulder blade, sorry, shoulder blade. Obviously this is what happens when I'm sketching and thinking and trying to narrate. So please forgive me there, not the shoulder blade at all. We're talking about the collarbone. Okay, so there we go. So the deltoid, just how it inserts into the arm there. A little bit of the bicep there, but we're not going to work too much into that because we're working on the torso on this particular drawing. Okay, there we go. clavicle inserting in, bone socket joint indicated, and then we've got a strong deltoid muscle there. Again, it's inserting into the arm there. Light coming from here, light source there. Right, so let's get on to the chest. The pectorals, or pectoralis major, which attaches to the sternum here. So if we go to our graphic drawing here, I'll just use my mechanical pencil here. It's attached to the sternum. And what you basically have here is you kind of draw it in segments as it's attached. You can feel the tension of the segments as it's attached to the ribs, how the pectorals attach to the shoulder, and how when we move the arm and the shoulder, it's a whole system. It all expands and contracts. So this is what we've got with our basic graphic and anatomical sketch there. Hit of the neck there. I'm not putting shadow on that, it's just a graphic sketch. So getting back to the here, here's the pectorals. I'm just going to put a little bit of shades to indicate the three-dimensionality of them. And of course, you're not going to see so much of this attachment here. You can, it depends how thin somebody is. In very thin people, you can actually see these segments, how they're attached. But in a kind of muscular person, but a lot of this surface detail does come out depending on how light and shade works on the figure. You can see these little clues, these little shapes. Now obviously we've got our ribs coming in here. Sorry, I'll just define the pectorals there a little bit more. Okay. Right, so there we go with the pectorals. Little shadow of the pectorals to show the three-dimensionality as it's lifted off the foam. Right, okay, now we're going to get on to, obviously the rib shape is under here. You can feel it here. It's good again to feel it yourself when you're drawing. I'm going to just draw some of the outer form here. Okay, there we go. Right. Simultaneously with our little graphic there. Sorry if I'm jumping about from one drawing to the other. This is just, I tend to do things as I remember certain things. So we're going to indicate the abdominal muscles here. These are these muscles that run from the center across here. And again, depending on your diet, how fit you are. So we get the 6 protrusions of them here before we get to the stomach, the belly button there, as we call it. And then we get one long protrusion of it here. One of the ribs indicated there. So, getting back to our graphic shape, we can see how this all works and interconnects here. Whoops. And you can literally define those ab shapes. We've all got them, it's just depending on, you know, like I say, whether you keep yourself fit, whether you're doing lots of exercise, lots of sit-ups, your diet, lots of things, especially when you're young, you're burning off, your fat burning when you're doing lots of exercise, and you can see these abdominals protruding. And in different people as well, some people just have that kind of definition of musculature more than other people. So there we go there, the 6 abs there, and then there's one large double shape that comes down here, and I'm not going much further than that. So that's the graphic of it, how it works there. Coming back to our more realistic figure, we're going to see, because of the way the shadow is, we're going to see a little bit more definition on these here. Light's coming over here, so it's creating shadow on this side. So because of our very fit, athletic man we've got here, you're seeing a little bit of definition in his abs, like this, okay? Oh yeah, there's a muscle at the back as well, that again is not, from this point of view, it's not that well defined, but it's called the latissimus dorsi. Or, can I find the longer definition of this? But I was always told latissimus dorsi, and it's this, if we look at our back muscle, it's a really big muscle, superficial muscle that comes down here at the back. Put the dot up there. We can actually see a little bit of it here, defined here. But in many people just standing front on like that, you're not going to really see too much of that. But it is there anyway. Okay, right. So we put in some shapes of the abdominal muscles there. What are we going to have a look at now? Right, okay. Next thing. There's muscles that attach themselves to the ribs, and they kind of follow the shape of the ribs. It's amazing. It really is amazing. And these are called the serratus anterior. And basically they kind of cut in like this, and then do that. Cut in like this, do that. Cut in like this, do that. Again, you will notice this form in people, depending on the light, depending on, they lift their arms up, you can see it. So this is what it does, it almost follows the rib shapes. Now in our more 3D sketch here, you can see them indicated here. You can see that them almost following the rib shape here. So the clues of the underlying forms, the skeletal forms and the superficial muscles that are following them are quite evident the more and more you look at this and you study it and you practice it. And I think I mentioned in a previous video, probably learn about anatomy maybe isn't essential. I would argue that knowing a basic amount about the skeletal structure and the superficial muscles is essential in, you know, especially in my work. I draw a lot of figures and different angles and action, and you know, you just having that control over the figure is just, it's a fantastic thing. But you know, I think just going out with a sketchbook and sketching people from life, you know, just drawing them on trains, on your friends and family, sitting poses, all of those things teach you all of this as well. But I just think it's really good to know a little bit of the underlying form. It just gives you so much control. Not that you're going to be drawing muscular people all of the time. This is, as I say, this is kind of an ideal, just learning about anatomy, drawing a figure like this. But you're going to draw all kinds of shapes and forms with ordinary people that have a lot of character in their shape, but having this basis, I think, is just an incredible thing. It just adds so much to your knowledge. Okay, so here we've got the torso starting to make sense here. You can see the kind of bulbous shape of this area of abdominal at the bottom, and then you can even start to see the shape form of the 6 areas of the abdominals that are protruding there, you know. I like to sort of do smudging to create a certain feel sometimes. Just different textures. So we're starting to take shape here. Just defining certain forms and how light and shade interact with the form. I mean, if anybody would like me to, we can also look at when the arms are raised, what it does to the muscles of the torso at the front, what it does to the muscles in the back. It's fascinating. I just love all that stuff. And but again, I really recommend, if you really love figure drawing, go to a life class, go to a good life drawing class where you can draw around the figure. You know, don't just sit in one pose, move around the figure, do like quick working drawings of the figure, and the knowledge you accumulate from that is just, it's just gold. It really is. To draw the actual figure from life, to draw the nude, you can really understand so much from doing that. So I think our torso is starting to come together. The last main muscles we'll be looking at here are the obliques. The oblique muscles are these ones here, both on the side here. You can feel them on your side, and if you tilt the form, you can really feel them there. Again, I've indicated them here, but you can see them there, and I've kind of defined them a little bit there because of the shadow. There we go. Now, if there's anything that is unclear, I know there's a lot to take on board here when you're just getting into human anatomy. You can get so many great anatomy books. I recommend an artist called John Raines, brilliant anatomy artist. The books of John Watkas, so that's the 2 Johns. Fantastic artist. There's another book which I own, which is an old book called Living Anatomy, R.D. Lockhart. It's a very old book that is amazing. So I recommend that. They're just essential books, John Watkas. And so yeah, here we go. I really hope you enjoy that. I love it. I love drawing the figure. I love drawing anatomy, the skeleton. I hope that's been an inspiring thing. Anything you'd like to know, anything you'd like me to draw further on in another video, just let me know. Let me know in a comment. So please like, subscribe, share, and that would be absolutely amazing. I'd really appreciate it, and I appreciate your time with me. Really hope you enjoy that, and just let me know if there's anything in particular you'd like me to draw. Thanks so much. Speak to you next time. Bye bye.